Greetings everyone, please give me a moment to make sure everything's set on up. Looks like everything's booted on up. I need to turn on my live chat windows as well as my macros. Okay, macros online. Let me check my other computer. Looks like my other computer was just outright frozen, so guess I'll worry about that a little bit later. So let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Great here for another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Small on top right side as the Orange Star Eagle, we got Profeta 7. Spawn bottom left side as the Blue Moon Kindle, we have a foreign name. So let's go ahead and get started. This is a 3-base map, technically 2 airports, though one is occupied by opponent's recon. Just infantry for both sides, not a big surprise, it's nice and early. Retreat to my other hand, my apologies, I hit the microphone. We have an early recon for Kindle. This map does offer a good number of properties with the capture figure at 36, so it's pretty liable for both players to get at least 25 properties if my offhand math is incorrect. That should be quite a bit of, of income for 3 days. That would be a reliable triple tanks, though both sides can go for a healthy number of battle copters as well. Recon push way forward, will spot this city being captured, will not be interrupted. Eagle's Recon's course going to make a relatively similar move. Does spot the same unit there. In fact, it is the mirror placement. Last turn, Kindle did go for a second recon. And just triple infantry there. He may be going for a battlecopter next turn. Does get a shot off there. Eagle does have visionless recon, so you know if you push forward and take a shot at this recon, it would be a very bad against this infantry unit. It would be a very bad call since the other recon can simply be on top of the city and get bonus damage to fire back. Right now, Eagle's at 13,000. He can go for a battlecopter and triple infantry, no problem. Tank double infantry keeps 4,800 in the bank. Takes another shot at an infantry unit there. Next turn, it'll likely go down. Though, instead of going down, since the recon's way, may go up. It did in fact go up into the forest there, and does actually keep the infantry unit alive. Of course, she does have visionless tank from 2 different recons. Recon advancing. Recon down south. Loads up a tank and infantry into that lander. Do have a battlecopter last turn by Eagle. Battlecopter triple infantry as well by Kindle. Lots of property captures there. 16,000 versus 14,000 income. Battlecopter, tank, and double infantry. Right now, Eagle does have 1 comp tower. Kindle just captured up hers. Of course, another pair of comp towers in the corners. Does get a shot there. An okay shot, not a great shot, but does interrupt the capture. That's the important part. Another battlecopter. And does take a shot of that infantry unit there. For capture progress, I don't see any way for this 1 health infantry to intercept capture any further. But this full health and recon and other full health and this other full health infantry can interrupt the capture even further. One thing she could do is sack the 1 health infantry, just soften up a little bit there. Maybe then a full health infantry can be able to fully finish it off. And does leave 1% health, or 1 health, so have 4 more turns to capture. Tank keep his distance, does spot the tank, all opposing tank here, but going for this recon would be a bad idea. I mentioned out of vision range. This tank is out of vision range as well. We have another battlecopter, double infantry, and a mech. So to catch up this comm tower, we've got 2 units in range to intercept. Trying to flip up properly now. This tank keeps its distance as well. Tank, and artillery. 20,000 income versus 18,000 income. Tank does take a shot against the infantry unit there. And keeping this tank nearby could be useful gauging another tank. Recon does spot this tank here. Tank, recon, infantry, and battlecopter. It's the infantry unit there. Continues capturing. And did indeed manage to capture this comm tower entirely. Did not interrupt it. Maybe not his vision range the entire time. Can't remember. Tank hits the recon. Infantry unit does not take a shot and interrupt the capture of the comm tower. Infantry, tank, and tank. Battlecopter gets a good strike on that tank. Antier will not take it out. And starts capturing the city there with 4 health infantry there. Finish off with 8 health infantry. Gets a boost strike onto that one. 3 versus 3, 1 versus 1. Does win the flip. Tank hits tank, tank hits tank. And infantry unit does get finished off there. Interrupts the capture even further. We do have now a lightning drive. Liners on 27 fuel. Mech, infantry, and battlecopter. Keeps 10,000 funds in the bank. Out of curiosity. According to this, self-bombers are not banned. Howdy. Catching up that city there. Capturing that one as well. This claim between there. That'd be Advanced Wars Days of Ruin. Company Heroes 2 is Wednesdays, and Company Heroes 1 is Thursdays. Does show the pipe seam there. Loads up a lander with a couple tanks. Battlecopter hits the recon. Battlecopter hits the recon. The recon goes down quite quickly and didn't be stubborn and get in the forest. Which may be a good idea for them to move this recon to the forest there. You know, this is a better scouting spot. It might be a good idea just to be a bit stubborn. Lander, oh, got a full bomber. I was thinking it was going to be a stealth, but in fact a full bomber. She keeps 9,600 funds in the bank, so maybe she's going to go for a tide of bombers. Takes out the pipe seam there, which I honestly don't know how useful destroying that pipe seam is. Does allow infantry to migrate over left where it's easier, but ground vehicles still cannot migrate through there. Yep, somebody requested for me to turn that on so it could be all translated to Portuguese. Though I've heard some people like it on, some people like it off. Because sometimes it gets, Nope. I am originally from Indiana. And my old man, which you may hear a bit my accent from him, was a hillbilly from Kentucky. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Pair of tanks getting inside of the lander. Got another battlecopter, tank. Recon, infantry, tank. Kindle does have her Urban Light available, but I always say Urban Light usually is a good idea to combo with the boosted Urban Strikes. But with this high properties that you can get on this map, and still actually some properties still despicably neutral, you can get quite a bit of additional firepower going. Right now she has 28 with also still neutral properties in the field, though she does have 3 property advantage. She's looking at a 78% firepower. No. 25 is 75%. So plus 3, 9. We're looking at around a plus 82% firepower bonus. Oh, wait, no, my math is still horrible. 84% firepower bonus, which is quite a bit. Oh, there goes that pipe scene. Anti-air. Tank, infantry, and anti-air. We have another battlecopter. Insert for 192 versus 164. But Kendall has a nice little advantage. It's really hard to say what it looks like when lightning strike comes on in. Ah. Yep. And Brazil's native language is Portuguese, if I'm not mistaken. Battlecopter, anti-air, double infantry, and another battlecopter, so we've got a 5-unit deployment this turn. This Air Force 5 being secured. Does the infantry unit there. There's another one there. 2 properties still despicably neutral, not to mention this airport. So if she can get her high society is going to be very, very strong. Tank, anti-air. Infantry, medium tank, recon, and battlecopter. High society is almost available, though she could always go for Urban Blight if she believes that she gets enough boost strikes to make it warranted. Battlecopter does strike battlecopter. Battlecopter strikes battlecopter. High society is now available. She'll allow her to one-shot some of these battlecopters. It allowed to one-shot a lot of things, honestly. Infantry recon, double battlecopter. Full high society. Right now, she's at 20 property, so still plus 84%. You can see it's striking infantry unit there. Will result in over 200% firepower. That's an easy one-shot. 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 Gets trapped. With the 2 defense stars, yep, did manage to survive that. Let's take a look and see the firepower chance on that. You have to roll extremely high luck in order to one-shot. But still, a lot of good damage there. That's an easy one-shot. That's an easy one-shot. That's an easy one-shot. That's an easy one-shot. I think people really should use High Society a bit more, though this map has a lot of properties for High Society. And that tank is going to be absolutely nuked, isn't it? Sorry, there's a bit of a issue with... Yeah, oh well. Mech capturing the city. Of course, there is going to be a lightning strike next turn. Double turn, and there's a good number of battle copters ruffling over here. Insert 217 with infantry, tank, anti-air infantry, and battle copter. Above lightning strokes. I can actually hit the previous turn button. And with lightning strike here, there's going to be a lot of good work done, though she does have plus 10% defensive passive effect. Battlecopter hits tank, tank hits tank. With the front lines smashing each other, there's going to be a lot of engagements there for Eagle. Let's see how effective the counterattack will be. Liners do move away, so replacements will not. Oh, this one does stick around. Probably could have kept that liner there and then pushed forward. Hits the infantry unit there. Tank hits the infantry, hits a tank, hits the recon, finish off recon. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Hits infantry, hits tank, hits anti-air, hits the bomber, hits the mech, finish off the mech, hits the tank. A very good lightning strike there to say the least. And triple infantry to follow up with. Answer 158, Kindle starts her 134, but of course of day-to-day income, she has 35. She is still slightly ahead, by about less than half a turn though. It's a bit more of a minuscule part. The Battlecopter does hit Battlecopter, but thanks to the lightning strike, all of his air units do have increased defense up to 20%, so with a power and 2 power, so they have plus 30% defense. Finish off the infantry unit there. He drops the capture. Does take out a Battlecopter there. Battlecopter, anti-air, tank, infantry, and battlecopter. Battlecopter goes down, hits the infantry. Battlecopter does finish off Battlecopter. Urban Blight is now available. Right now they're pretty even, though Kindle does have a slight income advantage. This property is still despicably neutral. Infantry, recon, tank, and battlecopter. Oh yeah. Damn spam bots. Give me a moment. There we go. Battlecopter goes down, Battlecopter goes down. Battlecopter, tank, tank, and infantry. Tank does hit the anti-air, and that anti-air as well. Battlecopter hits Battlecopter. Kindle has now another high society available. But the problem is a lot of her units are simply not in range yet, so I don't think a high society would be great, though this Battlecopter should be in range of Battlecopter there. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, and recon. Maybe high society this turn. We do have high society this turn. Then realize that's 6 around. Right now she still has 28%, 28 properties. And the 9 health infantry does one-shot the full health infantry. Ooh! That damage output is going to be much higher. Due to the urban property, she does get also additional 130% firepower from attacking from cities during superpowers. So 80% plus 130, so it's at least 210. So a lot. But I don't think that high society was very good. Maybe better to wait a turn. Insert 173 versus 149. Eagle could pull out a lightning strike this turn, but it's hard to say. Tank hits the recon, infantry hits infantry, finish off the recon. Extra defense stars being very useful. Does take a battlecopter. Shells the tank there. Takes out some infantry. Looks it's going to be no lightning strike this turn. Right now they're still pretty even. And Kindle did lose a property. Battlecopter, battlecopter, and triple infantry. Something died there to a lack of fuel. I don't know what it was. Maybe a battlecopter of some sort. Got some 1 health battlecopter still raffling about. Lightning strikes now available. Tank does battlecopter hits tank. Medium tank does hit infantry. Battlecopter hits tank, but that was a 1 health battlecopter. It's probably close to 1% health now. Battlecopter, tank, and infantry. Recon does not take out infantry. Does the tank. Does the tank twice. Medium tank gets struck. Medium tank gets struck. And I think Eagle's going to get a pretty good lightning strike next turn. Kindle's force, even though right now they said the values was quite similar, it just feels like Kindle's force just non-existent. Recons the area. Finish off the battlecopters, does slowly pick off that medium tank. It's 8 here as well. Battlecopter hits battlecopter, hits infantry. And right now, Kindle's lacking a lot of stuff on this island, the central island. Infantry, 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 and that's it. Urban Blight summon. Does hit the tank there. It gets a nice butcher strike there. Does find the artillery. Does finish off 2 health infantry in there. Does get trapped with the 1 health medium tank. And does go ahead and resign there. This Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Before we get started next replay, I do need his restroom. Please give me a moment. My apologies, I am back. So, let's go ahead on to the next replay. This next replay was requested for me to cast, but give me a moment to adjust this. And that seems pretty good. so let's go and get started. Greetings everyone, and Grade here for another Advanced Wars Advanced Wars by Web replay. So on the north side as the Orange Star Olaf, we got Motimon. So on the south side as the Blue Moon Eagle, we got Zhao Ting Tong. So let's go ahead and get started. This map is quite large. This is a standard funds game, not a high funds game. We do have 29 properties per player, so it's probably what, 22 properties each, roughly in half. Handful of captures there, of course. This map does offer a seaport, but I don't think there's going to be any blue water ships in this game. There's an airport down here as well as up here. Comm towers in the corner. Tank, infantry, and infantry. This map does have a strong side and weak side mechanic where one base fights two bases, but the one base usually has good defensible terrain. We do have an early artillery here. Maybe we're going to try to break down this pipe seam, which will allow easier transfer over here, including wheeled vehicles, barring this planes here. All the wheeled vehicles have one tile movements. Infantry, and tank. Tank, double infantry. Tank, double infantry. Tank looks like it stays out of range of this tank, as well as this tank. Actually, no, that one is in range. Of course, it's 3 defense stars. Now, obviously, Eagle has better capture game, 14 versus 11 properties. And looks like this property may be flipped, though we do have infantry unit nearby to stop it. Takes a shot there from the road rather than from planes. Tank does hit tank. And this tank simply pushed way too far forward. It got a little bit too exposed, this other tank. Close up the city. Battlecopter heading up north. There's this tank rotating to the left, tank on both sides. Black boat is almost out of fuel. This one has 21 fuel. Anti-air battlecopter infantry and infantry. We do have another tank, a pair of infantry, or anti-air infantry and tank. Hits this infantry up here, so it looks like both compounds of the corner are still not captured. Black boat is on 16 fuel, it should make him have enough fuel to get back to the harbor. Battlecopter will be zoned down by this anti-air, and gotta be careful not to get too close to this battlecopter, so this probably just needs to go. Probably just directly left is fine enough now. Does indeed trap the tank there. Though I may be able to set it free by hitting this war of infantry. Of course, in that 4 health tank will have to receive a free shot from an 8 health tank. Though that won't be too great, particularly if it ends the turn on top of a forest. Tank decides to take a shot against the tank. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Does the black boat for a point of damage, which means he will have to repair it along with the refueling. Tank, battlecopter, infantry, and infantry. Tank does not take a strike of tank, but does stay out of range of artillery, but not out of range of this battlecopter. ATR will provide enough coverage for it though. The ATR appears to be out of range of everything. Tank, artillery, or anti-air and tank. Right now, Eagle has 21,000 versus 19,000. Do now have a rocket down south. Like I said, there's a lot of mountains here for defense, and not to mention these sea tiles as well, which are even less traversable. Does capture the comm tower in the bottom right. Lose comm tower up here. And capture progress remains, so it'll take at least another 2 turns. Infantry, battlecopter, and anti-air. That's the infantry unit there, hits the infantry unit there. We do have a blizzard, which is somewhat situationally usable against Eagle, since the slowdown effect will really neuter a lightning strike. Not necessarily something you should be eyeing, but something you can do if needed. Neo-tank infantry and infantry. Does strike the pipe seam. Battlecopter, mech, infantry in infantry. Last property that's still despicably neutrals right there. Eagles right now is at 23,000 income versus 18. Trying to flip one and capture the last one. Battlecopter, anti-air, and double infantry. Does strike the infantry unit. Does strike that infantry unit. Mech, anti-air, and infantry. Strike that infantry unit there. Tank, anti-air, and another tank. Neo tank push way forward. Do have some battlecopter strike it. Does stay out of range artillery. Nowhere near close enough for a lightning strike to charge for artillery to shell it. Does hit the battlecopter there. It does actually sack a battlecopter there. Is the Iron for Winter Fury? Oh, this just feels so wrong. Okay, let's revert the turn quite a bit. You went from 130,000. Oops. He went from 152,000 to 130,000. And Eagle goes from 165 to 129. So in the end, he did do more damage to his opponent, but he could have got that superpower naturally. Ugh, that does not feel good at all. Maybe he's going to try to follow up some shots there. Maybe he wants to get that going and get the snow going. Does strike the Neo Tank. Strikes Neo Tank for, what was that, 6th time? That was a bold move. Let's see how well it goes. He can go for bomber and triple infantry, so it chooses. Neo tank double infantry. Probably Neo tank is probably a better option since bomber could be easily lightning strike down by a single anti-air. lightning strike this turn. Tank, artillery tank, 141 versus 154, so Olaf does have half turn advantage, or nearly a full turn advantage at this rate. Does strike the tank there and there. Hits the anti-air, hits the infantry. Infantry, mech, and battlecopter. Eagle starts a turn of 158 funds. He had to do a bit of repairs, but lightning strike is available. Hard to say how useful it will be though. And right now, Olaf's weak side is doing very well for himself. I think so, the battlecopter support. It looks like there's going to be no lightning strike this turn. Tank infantry. If Olaf manages to squeeze out a blizzard, he may want to go for a blizzard, like I mentioned before, and to slow down his opponent during his lightning strike. Notice he does pull back a lot of units and get infantry units surrounding some other units, giving them a bit more resilient to a lightning strike. Biggest problem right now is probably a rocket for a lightning strike. He doesn't have anything to really threaten the Neo tank, and the line infantry is going to be hard to get through all that. Artillery anti-air tank. Does strike the infantry unit there, hits the regular tank there twice. Does strike the pipe seam up north. Anti-air terrible tank. And Eagles pushing forward once again, getting to a bit of a stalemate situation. They'll strike the tank down south. Battlecopter could have escaped out, or maybe? Yeah, the battlecopter could have escaped out to here, right? Yeah, could have got to right there to escape. Right now the mech is in a position though, if the anti-air strike from here or here, it will be receiving a mech shot there, so the anti-air has to go all the way down on the far side of this battlecopter. And he did push a rocket into the range of the Neo tank, which I don't know, or a Neo tank into range of the rocket, don't know if that was a great idea. Maybe trying to go for more power charge? But sacking a Neo tank, that is very bold, to say the least. And looks like he's going for lightning strike now. Push right forward, hit some infantry units there. The rocket decides not to take a shot against the Neo tank for some odd reason. Artillery. I guess he wanted the rocket to lock down that base. Battlecopter to strike a battlecopter. Tank, rocket hits tank. Tank hits tank. Shells the Neo tank. Okay, looks like just 2 artillery is all is needed of that. Does occupy the base up north. Tries to stop the Contar being flipped. Let's look at the mech there. Hits the battlecopter. Hits the mech. Hits the anti-air a couple times. trying to capture this lab, and that is the only lab, which means if he loses that, that is game over. He does have Winter Fury available, which this will interrupt the capture. Give him another turn to deal with his opponent. Calling Eagle down to 145, right now it's at 114. This infantry unit there. Battlecopter gets struck by wounded 8 here. 8 here strikes the artillery, strikes the regular tank. Does take out some good units there. Because he will not be able to free his base. Oops. Instead of 126 versus 125, so Eagle has a full turn advantage. I mentioned much more income. Does the black boat for a tiny bit of ship damage, they do 10%. My apologies, hit my microphone. Lucy did join capture onto the lab. 6 capture progress remaining. Battlecopter, infantry, tank, and tank. Does hit the anti-air. Does hit the anti-air. Interrupts a capture for another turn. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Battlecopter hits tank. Tank hits tank. At this point in time, you may need to pull out a rocket to strike the HQ. Get some units over here. Tank, double infantry, and battlecopter. And looks like Olaf has resigned. And believe it or not, Multimon is the one who actually submitted the replay into me. This is Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Scizor fan? Greetings everyone, and Grade here for another Advanced Wars Days of Ruin, not Days of Ruin, Advanced Wars by Web replay. Small on top left side as the, is this Teal Galaxy? Yep, Teal Galaxy Von Bolt. We got Pummel _ horse. Spawn bottom right side as the Amber Blossom. Yep, Amber Blossom Javier. We have Scizor Fan 1991, and I realized something. I forgot to adjust the map over here. My bad. There we go. That should be much better. Yeah, that should be good. So let's go ahead and get started. 1991 is clearly a year of birth, which is somewhat in line with Advanced Wars, as Advanced Wars originally on the Game Boy Advance 1 and 2. Then it was an early Dual Strike game. Not Dual Strike. But Dual Strike was an early DS game. For the longest time when I was growing up, I could have sworn DS was Dual Strike, not Dual Screen, because of that. It was actually my first game, both my brother and I, that was our first game on the Nintendo DS, barring the Metroid demo game, which was also not really a demo for Metroid Prime Bounty Hunters. It was its own little Metroid version. More infantry to have an early tank by Von Bolt. And what else is trying to say? Yeah, Dual Strike is the first game that got mixed up DS with Dual Strike. This is a 3-base map, but the capture limit is 23, so you're not going to be dealing with too high income. I think it's going to be like 15,000 per person. This map does offer 1 comm tower per player. However, you have plus 30% indirect defense. Von Bolt will not be able to go for many indirects versus Javier. There is an airport in the corners. Tank, double infantry. There is a mountain here which could be good for max. There's plenty of shores for traversement. Cole must be furious at all the shores there. And then again, not like Cole can get any benefits for bridges. I swear, just Cole just gets screwed out of his day-to-day stuff. Tank does get fully surrounded. Tank anti-air. Does hit infantry, does hit infantry there. And artillery is straightforward, another infantry there. So yeah, it looks like it is going to be 15,000 per player. Actually, no, there's still a good number of despicably neutral properties. 2 for each player, looks like. Actually, there's probably a third, yep, neutral one down here. 5 remaining, so add 2. So it looks like both players have approximately 17,000 income on average. The tank did push forward in range the artillery. That's not like a great idea. That's basically sacking a tank there. Speaking of which, losing this tank and this tank, that's going to be quite a bit of losses there for Von Bolt. Shells the tank there. You could try and interrupt the catch further, but don't think it's going to get enough damage going. There's a tank there. Actually does try to shoot the infantry there. Probably best to finish off this tank here, because that's going to be a capture. Does not finish off the infantry unit there. It's the infantry unit there, and there as well. Tank, and infantry. Does hit that infantry unit there, and shells that infantry unit. Hits that infantry unit there. Finish off that one. Hits 9 health. Finish it off. Finish off that 2 infantry unit there. Right now, almost a 17,000 income for 16,000 income. One property is still despicably neutral. My apologies, I'm going to open up another drink I have nearby. Neutral properties are right there. He's pushing way forward. Does hit the infantry unit there. Battlecopters, 2 of them raffling over here. Anti-air is close by. In fact, that battlecopter is in range, no longer in range. And we do have tanks over here, but this tank is a little bit too far away. This tank is somewhat closer. The anti-air just has to avoid being adjacent to these tiles and probably push forward to where this 4 health tank is to threaten the battlecopter. Tank gets double tapped. You now have a tower shield available. Double the effectiveness of this column towers. All of his activating power is 2 powers, so effectively we'll get in plus total plus 30 globally. His model right now has plus 20 plus 10 globally. Does strike the artillery there, but that's not a good trade. Second battlecopter for an artillery because it's 6,000 funds. Battlecopter 9,000. So that's sacking a battlecopter there. Probably try and preserve a tank. And we do not have a full Tower of Power available. It'd probably best go for just Tower Shield, honestly, rather than Tower of Power. Go for 1-2 punch. Provide a bit more effectiveness, but in case he wants to go for a little bit more firepower, he can. Does go for the Tower Shield. I think that's the better option, like I said. Artillery strikes that tank. Battlecopter hits tank. Infantry unit can be replaced by the anti-air to get out the battlecopter. Does get some good damage there. Does get the battlecopter. And Ex Machina is going to be available soon. I'm not sure where to land. Probably right here. Von Bolt's down to 48 versus 78. Of course, it's all his day-to-day funds, but he's still behind. And Ex Machina did land there, as expected. This infantry did get splashed, so he could task that infantry unit first. Both players right now have 17,000 income. Total formations, of course, locked down. End turn of 161,000 versus 59,000, so still pretty even. Still got a full health battlecopter and 2 full health tanks in this area, so Javier still in a great position over here. Over here, however, he is lacking a bit of anti-air. Tank, infantry, and artillery. It's going to just skip on the anti-air until it actually really needs it. 4 battlecopters can cause issues, but not massive issues. Let's check the battlecopter there. Hits the anti-air. Another tower shield is, of course, available. Battlecopter double infantry or triple infantry. Another tower shield hits the infantry unit there. Anti-air does get struck, does got a tank there, finish off the infantry unit there. Anti-air goes down. It's a 7 health battlecopter, has a bit more room to breathe, but there's still another full health anti-air in reserve. Anti-air tank and infantry. Hits the infantry unit there. More battlecopters being summoned up north, so this battle anti-air is going to be more needed. Tank, infantry, and infantry. Infantry unit does go down. Vombo did flip a property. Tank, infantry, and tank. Takes out the 1 health infantry. 3 health infantry units do go down, just drawing some fire there. Tank, infantry, and tank. Tank does hit tank. Tank does hit tank. Tank does hit tank. Use the wounded tank on top of more defense stars first is probably a good idea. Infantry, infantry, and tank. Battlecopter, infantry. Infantry and infantry. Infantry, artillery, and anti-air. Medium tank, double infantry. And for that city there, hits the infantry unit there, hits the infantry unit there. Got another tower shield activated. Battlecopter does hit battlecopter. Does strike out that tank in the center. Try and flip this comm tower here as well. If Javier gets another comm tower, that's probably a win condition. Since he, of course, get additional defense per comm tower as well. So if you have effectively plus 20 global at any point in time, while Von Bolt has plus 10. But the double effectiveness from the tower shield will result in him getting in total plus 50. And I don't see any ways he's going to interrupt that capture. So Javier claiming this comm tower is going to be massive. No, he does manage to squeeze on through. His tower shield only took 3 points of damage, but the chance of him keeping that secured is not likely. If you have another Ex Machina available, which could lock down a flank, but if he locks down this flank, it won't be too massive an issue since most of the Von Bolt stuff is here. Okay, looks like the Ex Machina will like to strike right here. Mech or battlecopter, double infantry. Does the battlecopter twice. Does strike all those tanks there. You can merge them back to a 9 and full health tank. Does use an infantry unit there to strike from the city with this infantry unit there. And instead of 100 with 90,000 versus 87, so they're still pretty even. Though a good chunk of those tanks are out of commission for a bit of time. He does have the artillery in range to protect this tank in case a medium tank pushes way forward. Got artillery, tank, and infantry. Another medium tank. So right now, Vonbold has triple medium tanks on the field. It's quite an investment right now. Both players have 17,000 income. So Vonbold has to save up money on other turns in order to get a medium tank per turn. Let's look at the battle copter there. Some infantry units, medium tank, infantry and infantry. So got another medium tank. So it was that 4 medium tanks in total now. Yeah, somehow he only has 4 different unit types as well. Javier has 6. And against Javier, you can't really deploy indirects due to his high indirect resistance. Infantry. Tank, and infantry. And instead of 115 versus 125, so Javier has about a half turn advantage. Does hit the battle tank there. Interior strikes infantry unit there and there. Uses a tank to block the medium tank. Currently use the 3 elf infantry since it'll be just gunned down from the river. We now have a Neo tank infantry. Neo tanks, of course, are very strong, but of course they don't have too much defense compared to medium tanks, so medium tanks are still a good counter to them. Anti-air infantry and infantry. Tank, infantry, and artillery. Vonbold has 20,000 funds in the bank, so it could go for another medium tank. We do now got a tower shield or a tower of power available. Battlecopter ain't here. In double infantry. Tower shield's not activated, going for regular power. Let's see, I don't know if this if the regular tank here goes down, then you can strike it. Not sure if you can somehow take it out though. Use the Neo tank to take it out and just use the infantry to block it, so the medium tank can't get a strike onto that Neo tank. Not to mention, he's actually having a bit of trouble running, get pathing away. And here, double infantry and battlecopter. They'll strike the infantry there, and Vonbold has resigned. This is Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. There we go, that should be everything good to go. So let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the south side as the Blue Moon Sonia, we got Ban Joey. Spawn on the top right side as the Orange Star Drake. We got No One Egalatur Fan. Not sure who Egalatur is, but #1 fan of him. Or no one is a fan of him. One of the two. Now also that could be read another way. No one's a fan of him, or he is #1 fan. I'll let you choose. Do now a recon for both sides now. Sonya of course gets extra vision range. It may be a good idea for the movement of the force there, just to hide away. This is a better spotting spot for without her +1 vision, but with her +1 vision, she's able to get the better spotting from there. More infantry. Double infantry and a recon. Oh yep, with Sonya's question mark health, it's going to be very hard for me to judge fights. Luckily Sonya's like bottom barrel of the seals. She has a lot of things that can go great for her, but her biggest problem is the bad luck that she has. That bad luck just really hurts, or makes her not hurt. Drake has gone from the airport, however, as the aircraft you get -30% less firepower, so it's still not great to go for. And this is a map where you tend to see players go for a lot of battlecopters. Double infantry tank. Tank, and infantry. Does not take a shot against that recon, even though she had vision of it. Infantry. Keeping 4,000 monies in the bank. Drake does have 13,000 at the moment. Artillery, recon, and infantry. Don't think this tank is in range. Nope, just one tile short. Tank does advance forward onto the city, which does spot the other tank. In fact, I don't think that tank's actually currently in spotted state. Depending his pathing may go in front of this infantry's vision. Tank, and recon. Good number of catches there, up to 18,000 versus 15,000. She does have vision of that tank there. And with the +3% retaliation damage, the tank up here will do about 3 points of damage, but he will take, or 4 points of damage. He would probably take more damage than he would deal. Infantry, and infantry. Keeping 12,000 in the bank. She's too far away from getting a bomber since the airport's not captured. But could be for a Neo tank next turn. 5 points damage return. That tank's probably at 6 health as well. Tank, and infantry. Her defense, rather than taking or receiving less damage, she just simply deals less, sends more damage in return due to the high retaliation damage. You can see her, he actually lost that duel rather than winning it. The artillery's in range, but she can simply just drive away from it. Oop! She does find that infantry there. Anti-air, and tank. Tank, infantry, and black boat. Pretty sure that's that is a fresh black boat. You start with 2 laners, not black boat. Got some captures there. 19,000 versus 20,000 income. Does hit the tank, the recon there. However, she normally enter the range of the artillery. Does find infantry there. That may have been just a bad call having a artillery. I suppose the artillery has now 2 targets in front of it, but got another tank in range. Yeah, I don't think that was good engagements. Does finish off that 1 health infantry in there. And now both these 6 can receive first strike from the artillery and this tank here. Does take out that tank there. The other tank's at full health though, and we've got the 8 or 6 health tank to be soon to be 8 health. There's a clean clear path to the artillery, but there's plenty of tanks nearby to retaliate against that. Honestly, goes for a counter break. Is definitely not a good idea to go do that. Counter break can be a form of a lightning strike since she does get first strikes. Does strike the artillery, does strike the tank there. Not enough for a counter break. We've got 2 tanks in the back line ready to push forward. And the 4 artillery can still get a shot off. Does take out that tank there. Takes another tank. Counter break's now available, but she's taking severe damage. She does have 3 tanks in this region, so this counter break will be very successful to say the least. Neo tank here was got out by this recon. 128,000 versus 141, so they're still pretty even, though of course the Typhoon would be a bit of a problem. Counter break's now deployed. She has vision of almost 3/4, definitely 2/3 of the map. Does get some good damage there. Bomber infantry, so she's gonna be eating a bit of repairs. Not to mention she double base skipped. Does strike the recon there. Reduced vision is going to be a bit of a problem, though somebody can help counteract that with her own heightened vision. So she doesn't ignore anything with weather effects with her power and superpower. Doesn't look like it. Actually, no. Her power and superpower will create a sunny day. I forgot about the part. It actually clears weather, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't say it, but I'm pretty sure it clears all units. I'm pretty sure this clears out the rain effect, even though it's not stated there. Right? Because due to the... Oh, got that, double A. There we go. I think. Because let's do like that sunny day sound effect as well, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, my mind's a little bit mush right now. Neo-Tank Recon. Let's get the infantry there. Both players have 2 comm towers. Battlecopter, Recon, Tank, and Infantry. That is Drake's second battlecopter, who do have less firepower, 10% less firepower in total. I'll strike the infantry unit there. Bomber is advancing, and counterbreak can make it very, very difficult to deal with. Since anti-airs will have to receive a shot first, and bombers can one-shot anti-airs, particularly on the effects of a superpower. And having plus 50% firepower bonuses on counterattacks, and her counterattack will go first. Does strike the recon there with the artillery. Probably close to 2, I would say 2 health right now. Tank, infantry, and tank. Does capture up a seaport. Both the seaports have now been captured. Does bomb an infantry unit there. The recon up north is down to 1 health, not 2 health. Artillery, tank, and recon. And the recon does go to the forest shroud hideaway, but there's a black boat already there to spot it. And this T-copter is actually getting pretty low on fuel, so maybe that black boat should just either does resupply there. Infantry, rocket, and anti-air. Does take out that battlecopter there, does bomb the tank there, interrupts the capture there. We do have a Neo-Tank on top of the city here, nearby another Neo-Tank. If Drake's going to take a shot against the Neo-Tank, he may want to pop a tsunami first. Bomber, double infantry. So we've got now 2 bombers in the field by Somia. It does take out that recon there. This recon does advance back to the forest, avoid being shelled by the artillery. Neo-Tank heads down south. This Neo-Tank is... I don't think it's out of in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, looks like it's 1 tile away. Tank, artillery, and infantry. Counterbreak's almost available. Good damage there. Will we see a counterbreak? We do see an end of turn counterbreak. Tank, and recon. Does take out the battlecopter there. And got Typhoon there. But thanks to the first strike, the battlecopter got a good strike onto the anti-air. First. You can see these units taking damage before they strike. Anti-air can strike the bomber, but that may be a death sentence for the anti-air, actually. I am curious about that. Is the game smart enough to tell us what will happen? Nope, this will not tell us the first strike. Keeps anti away from the bomber, which could nuke that rocket up there. Battlecopter, infantry, anti-air, and infantry. Tank does the infantry there. Second bomber advancing. Maybe some black boat, which she does not have. Can repair it on up. The two bombers could merge together. They're both at half fuel. There's no resupply, though we do have a rig here, or APC, so maybe that would be its resupply point. This one will need a resupply first, so we'll burn 5 fuel per day, so next one we have 8 fuel, and the APC is in range, though. Battlecopter, infantry, and artillery. Answer 152,000 versus 169. That's their artillery. Let's take out the tank there. Everything falling back, get some repairs going. New tank got repaired to full. Bomber here is down to 30 fuel. Resupplies this one. Which does take out recon. 8 years up north, out of range. Maybe a good idea to move the recons first before moving the bombers to make sure they stay out of range of the 8 years. Tank, and infantry. Rocket does strike the ET, or recon does knock it down. AT-air, recon, and infantry. Does not resupply the bomber just yet. It may want to end its turn next to it. Tow fuel. I guess next to the black boat can refuel it. Infantry, and infantry. So she looks to keep 15,000 funds to bank. She has a T-copter sitting on top of the other airport at the moment. Battlecopter does strike the tank there. No anti-air on the left side of the map to stop the battlecopter. Got a nice little core tanks in the center. Both players have 34th military units in the field. Right now, Sony's at 24,000 income versus 25,000 income. The only difference is this property in the center here is still despicably neutral. Those both these are, so there's a third property somewhere that's still despicably neutral. Ah, the airport down south. Comm tower being captured, and I don't know this tank can range it. Another counter break is almost available. Tank, and anti-air. Another rocket has been pushed forward. Hits that infantry unit there, and it does take out that one as well. Tank, and infantry. Now we do have a full, or a half Typhoon, a Tsunami. Very important for that fuel bleed. This bomber is was down to 30 fuel, now is at full resupply. New tank strikes a regular tank there, takes out a regular tank there. We're likely going to see a mid-turn counter break. There's a battlecopter, or does not take out the battlecopter actually. Does get a bit of damage on everything, though this one of these tanks could be shelled by this rocket. This 5 health tank just needs to get on out of there. Battlecopter, triple infantry. Right now, so 23,026. Neo tank is pretty close to a lot of stuff. Neo tank does fall back. Another Neo tank and bomber still possibly can break on through though. Neo tank, anti-air, and infantry. Anti-air does check out the infantry, or does now finish it off. Does take out that tank there. It allows the other bomb to push forward and strikes the Neo tank without ranging itself to that rocket. Neo tank stays out of the rocket's range. That's how the rocket is still hidden. Push forward multiple tanks there into the range of the rocket. Just gonna overwhelm it, give it too many targets. Recon, anti-air, and battlecopter. There's that tank. Takes up the bomber. Is that a tank? And it does strike the APC there. Another counter break's almost available. This APC needs to get over here to this other bomber. It's on 25 fuel, so it'll be at 21. Not too much fuel remaining. Takes out that unit there. Battlecopter takes out that anti-air. Hits the other anti-air. We now have a counter break available. Might as well go for it. Pops at the end of the turn. Maybe still could have got plus 10, plus 10. And spots that rocket, thinks of counter break. Another reason why to go for counter break. Bomber can not range itself in that rocket. Needs something cleared out of the way, like this tank or this tank here. The bomber can clear out this tank here perfectly fine. Has to fall pretty far back to send the bomber down to 14 fuel. Problem is, well, he needs the black belt somewhere in range of this bomber, due to the fact that this APC is at 3 health and can easily go down. Taking out, and plus not on the tsunami. Yeah, that bomber is probably get fall out of the sky due to the lack of fuel, isn't it? 7 fuel with 5 fuel consumption next turn to be down to 2 fuel, which is not enough to range the seaport. Someone just has to hope this APC does not get picked off and is at 10% health. Those easy pickings for everything. If Drake realizes picking off this APC, which means this black bomber will fall out of the sky, and then he knows exactly what he should do with it, or knows exactly to take it out. Did not take out that 1 health APC. That is a critical mistake. He had visioned this thing here. Because you can see here, 2 health, this APC needs to get there. Yep, not taking on the APC was a massive mistake there by Drake. This counter will be flipped next turn. Or this turn. Next turn. Recon, tank, and APC. It's 132 versus 178. Neo Tank and Bomber are both in range of the Neo Tank, so that will be a good target. And the 2 infantry can easily picked off by the 8 infantry. A lot of anti-airs here. $24,000, 26,000, 25,000 income. There's still progress despicably neutral. This airport's finally being captured, but still won't be captured this turn. Bomber does strike the Neo Tank, and Neo Tank strikes the Neo Tank. And that bomber would not be saved by counter break this time around. Strikes the anti-air, strikes the bomber, and now have a, actually I forget what her name of power is. Enhance the vision. Looks like something fell out of the sky, probably due to a lack of fuel. Counter brakes now available. Another bomber sorting its way forward. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Tank, and tank. It's 121 versus 181. Does get trapped on the APC. And this Neo Tank is currently down to 3 health, but can be repaired up to 5 next turn. Tank, and infantry. Looks like I think the T-copter over here fell out of the sky. It looks like Sonya does go ahead and resign this and grade scene. Thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. And that will be it for me tonight for the stream. I'm getting a little bit tired at the moment. This is grade saying thank you for watching. Have a good evening.